I recently listened to a message from Levi Lusko in which he talked about some information about the building of the Panama Canal. The building of it was started by the French in the late 1800s, and it was finished by the U.S. in the early 1900s. About 25,000 people died in the building of it. The primary cause of most of those deaths was malaria and yellow fever. We know today that those diseases are blood-related, but back then it was thought that those diseases were from gases contained in the ground and released through the digging. And since they believed it came from dirt, ants were considered to be a primary cause of infection. So a massive campaign was launched by the canal management to keep ants away from people. Since ants can't swim, each leg of a hospital bed was placed in shallow pans of water, and moats were dug around fruit trees. The standing water was incredibly effective at keeping ants away, but people kept dying. Of course, the problem was that ants don't carry yellow fever and malaria, but mosquitoes do, and mosquitoes love stagnant, standing water, like what was in the hospital rooms. Hospitals were full of mosquitoes. The thing people thought was keeping them safe was actually putting them at risk. But when people finally figured out the connection between stagnant water and mosquitoes and disease, they removed the water and put screens in the windows, and the mosquitoes were no longer everywhere, and the disease fell precipitously. Once it was determined the right way to fight, it became possible to win the battle. It makes me think of some scriptures about spiritual warfare. In this time that we're in, with people's patience wearing thin and our emotions high, it can be easy to look at those whose opinions don't align with ours as the enemy, and sometimes even worse, as evil. This can lead us not to listen to their positions, or their viewpoint, to be dismissive of them, to look down on them, to devalue them. But Scripture says in 2 Corinthians 10 that the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, meaning physical or earthly, but they're mighty in God for the pulling down of strongholds, casting down arguments and every high thing that exalts itself against the knowledge of God. And in Ephesians 6, it says that our struggle is not against flesh and blood, but it is against powers of this dark world and against spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly realms. It's not against the people that we see, but against powers and forces that we don't see. So if we want to be effective in changing the course of things around us, let's first realize where the real enemy is. And let's not do battle against ants when the real enemy is the mosquito. Love you guys.